Hey guys, what's going on and welcome to today's video. We finally have a champion for the spoiler season that's been revealed. We have Shurima cards as well today, so we're gonna have a lot to go and look at today. There's a lot to unpack today. The champion that was spoiled, if you don't know who it was, is Zilean, the time mage, time old man. Very interesting champion. He doesn't look overtly OP to me at first glance, but I can see some strong synergies with him. Along with Zillion, we've had a couple of other synergistic cards that have been spoiled with him. So enough talking about whatever and random stuff. Let's go and look at Zillion and his cards that have been revealed with him. All right, here we go. Zillion. Zillion is a pretty nice card in my opinion. 2 mana, 1/4. It's a respectable stat line. Not great in combat, but good enough. It dodges some nice removal, like it dodges mystic shots and get excited, so that's nice. Susceptible to calling strike, but it's a 2-drop. You can't expect too much. It doesn't really rumble well in combat, like I said earlier, but Zillion seems like a champion you do not want to put onto the battlefield fighting unless you have to in order to survive. But as for the card himself, Zillion is a 2 mana 1/4, as I said, that says when you play him, create 4 time bombs in your deck, then predict. To level up, Zillion has to see you destroy 2 allied time bombs. So he has to see that, so he has to be on the field. That's a little bit of a hard level up. The time bomb, as you can see on the right, is a 2 mana landmark that says when I'm summoned, draw 1 and advance other allied time bombs 1 round. Time bombs also have a countdown of 1. So the countdown, it's not too high of a countdown. That's nice. Countdown of 1 of deal 1 damage to enemies and the enemy nexus. Pretty much a red card. A red card from Twisted Fate. I like it. I like time bombs. I like cards that replace themselves. So that's nice because the time bomb itself, if it didn't replace itself, it would be kind of bad to shuffle these into your deck because without that, it's kind of a low impact card. So it's a two mana card that cycles and replaces itself, which we've seen is almost always playable on its own as long as it has a decent effect. The explosion it brings is a decent effect. But yeah, like we've seen in the form of Guiding Touch, Pale Cascade, I believe the new card that activates Nightfall again unto Dusk as well is pretty playable. Um, I can't remember the card's name. I think it's a Ruinous Path, the 2 mana slow speed spell that drains 2 if you slay a unit this round and it draws 1. It's also somewhat playable. Leveled up Zillion though. 2 mana 2/5. He gets really powerful when he levels up, by the way. 2 mana 2/5. At the start of the round, create a fleeting copy of each non-fleeting card I saw you play last round. That's not just like the first card you played or the last card you played. It's every single card. Now, of course, you better be a little bit careful because your hand might get a little too full. And then, of course, he saw as you play, you get 4 time bombs. I kind of wish he made even more time bombs when he was leveled up, maybe like 5 time bombs, but whatever. That's kind of nuts, though, for a level up, which is good in my opinion, because I think his level up condition is a little hard to achieve. The whole drawing, because you have to draw the 2 time bombs, you have to play the 2 time bombs, and then you have to let them destroy themselves. That's a lot of work. Because sure, 4 time bombs in your deck, that's a lot of time bombs, so it's not going to be like you're not going to see them, but it might take a while for those time bombs to be drawn, played, and pop. So I'm not sure. Sure, you have things like Predict to help you find the time bombs faster, but I think it's just going to be a little too tough to level up Zillion to reliably rely on his level up condition, level up form. So, how to put it? Zillion is a cheap champion with a solid, if not mediocre stat line. Um, kind of bad against fearsome, I guess, but decent against non-fearsome aggro, especially because Time Bomb will wipe the board of things like spiders and I guess I don't know, like daring poros. So it's kind of nice against a what? discard aggro deck. But yeah, like I think he is powerful. I think he's a really powerful card. And why do I think he's powerful? Honestly, it's because of a couple of reasons. One, his leveled up form is extremely powerful. Let's also talk about his champion spell. We forgot to talk about that. His champion spell is Chrono Shift. We can see it on the bottom right. Zilean's Chrono Shift is a 7 mana burst spell. Give an allied champion the next time I die this round, fully heal me and grant me +3/+3 instead. I like it as a spell. I don't like it as a card I would put in my deck, but I like it as a card that I wouldn't be too unhappy about, if that makes sense. Compared to other champion spells and champions whose spells are just, in my opinion, bad. Like Kindred and her Spirit Journey. Sure, there's some cool finicky or cool stuff you can do, but just a little too finicky in my opinion. Chrono Shift, on the other hand, is not a card I would really put in my deck, but I wouldn't be unhappy to see that I have two of them. I also like that it says it doesn't, or it says that it just, instead of the unit dying, it heals itself instead. So kind of like Immortal Fire. So the unit is not dying, it's just basically popping the buff and fully healing. And then it gets +3/+3 as well. So why does this matter? Few reasons. One, you get to keep all the buffs, I guess, is a number one. Things like Kindred and Fiora have their counters level up or stay there. Like, let's say you're at 2 out of 4 kills for a Fiora victory, your Fiora countdown, Fiora tracker will not reset down to 0, so that's also nice. So I like it as a chance spell. I don't like it as a spell or a card I would put in my deck. But it is one of the reasons why I like Zilean. Now, that's not the only reason. Why else do I like Zilean? The other reason is Predict. Early Predicts, in my opinion, are really strong. Predict is always strong at any part of the game, but I feel like Predict is at its strongest the earlier you play Predict, because you can smooth out your draws. You're like, okay, I'm against aggro. Let me try and find some anti-aggro. Okay, I'm against control. Let me try and find some card draw or some value if I want to try and fight them on the value front. I'm against mid-range. Let me try and find some removal or interaction. So that's another reason why I like him. And then, of course, like the cheap AoE that time bombs bring is pretty nice. Now, what do I not like about Zilean? And this is kind of dependent on the other cards, but the only problem I see with Zilean is he doesn't seem to have a obvious home. A lot of people are saying like, oh, maybe Zilean aggro with Jinx to empty your hand and then use leveled up Zilean to get a bunch of cards the next round. I don't think, in my honest opinion, that's good. Others, myself included, are thinking like Zilean go hard, because you'll level up Zilean and then you'll get the go hards you played the last turn. I also like it. I like that idea. That's probably my favorite idea I've heard so far. I've seen some people say like Zilean Karma, myself included as well, because the time bomb gives you a repeatable AoE. The problem with that is then you're playing Karma and you're playing Ionia, and that's just a funny joke. Ha ha ha. So yeah, I don't know. I like the card, but don't really know exactly what deck would want him. I'm thinking like maybe like Zilean Elise, Zilean Kindred go hard, play like a standard go hard list, go hards, glimpses, Vile Feast, Rhyme Negation because you're in Shurima. The new card here on the top right, which we'll talk about later, Scrying Sands, which I think is really good. Probably like other stuff like, of course, Spirit Leeches, Doom Beasts, Fading Icons, maybe some Ladroses and Atrocities as well. That, in my opinion, is my best attempt at brewing Zilean for now. Who knows? In the future, we might see more cards spoiled, and they might be very obvious that they go with Zilean. But for now, maybe not. I don't think Zilean goes well with Talia. I will say that. I don't think you want to try and copy time bombs with Talia. Like, sure, you can, if you somehow have a time bomb on the field and you copy it with Talia, that's 2 time bombs already for the Zilean level up, but that seems like a lot of work for not a lot of payoff. Anyway, though, we've been rambling about all these cards for a while now, Zilean and his Chance Spell Chrono Shift. Let's Let's talk about the next card, Soothsayer. I think a lot of people are overreacting to Soothsayer, in my opinion. Yes, it is strong, and the effect itself is strong. 2 mana, 1/4, again, like Zilean, okay body, like not terrible for the cost, but not a great allocation. But a lot of people are like, wow, giving Spell Shield to landmarks and champions. That's insane. Yes, it is. I'm not gonna say it's not. You can if you give a landmark a spell shield, how do you get rid of it? It's really tough to remove landmarks as is, but if you give it spell shield, you're basically using 2 landmark removal spells to pop a spell shield because there's not really a way to remove a spell shield on landmarks because most cheap ways to remove spell shield are what? Think like Vile Feast, Mystic Shot, Targon uses like an Equinox or something, or Hush maybe. None of those can target landmarks. So a landmark with spell shield is going to be kind of nutty. Also, another thing some of my viewers were talking about is the curve of turn 1 Zoe, turn 1 Soothsayer. That is really strong, I will agree. That is very scary. Now, I would say like you can't just forget about playing the game and just keep attacking with Zoe because of things like Sharp Sight, of course. And of course, it doesn't do anything against challengers, but it's still really nutty of a start. Outside of those two things, like two situations, putting spell shield on a landmark and giving Zoe spell shield, I don't think the card really has any like other good places in the meta, good places in decks. Now, is that enough to make this thing see constructed playability or play? I think so. I think the answer is yes. Especially for Sundisk decks. I think in a Sundisk deck, a mono Shurima deck, you play this card. I don't know if you will play all three of them, but I think you play this because one of the biggest issues of Sundisk decks, and I talked about this, I think, yesterday when we were talking about some of the countdown acceleration cards. One of the biggest problems with Sundisk and Countdown is your opponent just lets you do all your like countdowning and reducing the countdown, and then they play their landmark removal or whatever. They play like Scorched Earth or I don't know, Crumble or whatever, or Homecoming from Ionia as well. I've definitely done that myself. I've had opponents get their Sundisk down to like countdown 5 or so, and then I'm like, okay, Homecoming, bounce back Sundisk to your hand. Like, sure, it's not destroying it, but it's resetting the counter. And there's like, well, try again. So yeah, giving Sundisk Spell Shield, in my opinion, will not make Sundisk viable, but it does a lot of work towards making Sundisk viable. I think this is huge for Sundisk decks. Now, are there going to be enough cards for Mono Shurima and Sundisk specifically? Like, you can argue there already are, but I've also considered maybe Zilean in Sundisk decks. Use Zilean as sort of a control to try and like buy time for the Sundisk to count down instead of trying to do that gimmicky play a couple of champions that are Ascendeds and then play Ascended's Rise instead, which is very soft and weak to things like Deny and Rite of Negation. I don't know. I haven't played too much Sundisk in my honest opinion, in my honest truth, whatever. Next card. I like this card. The next card, in my opinion, is probably the strongest one here, except for maybe Zilean. Out of the non-Zilean cards, basically between Soothsayer and Chrono Shift, I think this next card is the strongest one. It is Scrying Sands. Scrying Sands is it is Elixir of Iron. It is Shurima's Elixir of Iron. 1 mana burst speed spell, predict. Give an enemy -2/-0 this round. Compared to Elixir, giving an enemy -2/-0 this round is not as good as giving a unit, an allied unit, +0/+2 this round, in my opinion. And the reason for that is because it can't be used to dodge or as a trick against damage-based spells like Withering Wails, Grasp, Mystic Shot, etc., etc. But the reason why I think this card is better, well, not better, but it is about equal, if not better than Elixir of Iron, is the predict line. I think predict really, really puts this card above Elixir of Iron, in my opinion, especially for a more control-y deck. For a more aggressive deck, I think Elixir is better because they want to use Elixir to protect their units against things like Mystic Shot. Meanwhile, for a control-y deck or even just a greedier mid-range deck, the Predict is more useful to them, in my opinion, because they can use it to try and smooth out their curves. They're like, okay, I really want to hit like I don't know, I want to find Lee Sin on 5. I want to find like Leviathan on 8. I want to find I don't know, Ladros on 9 or something. Or I really need some health right now. My health is getting dangerously low. Let me try and find some healing, like Star Shaping or at least Guiding Touch. So I like it. I really, really, really like this card. It's pretty sweet. It's a card that the way I like to describe it is like, it's not very wowy. It's not splashy. It's not like you look at this card and you're like, wow, what a nuts card. But this is a card that it's going to be really strong, but it's going to be really quiet while being strong. Kind of like a Troll Chant is right now. Like, sure, everyone knows Troll Chant is a great card, but no one's always like, oh man, Troll Chant, so strong, so OP. Like, wow, that Troll Chant really won the game. But then it actually does all those things. And yes, some people actually say those things. But I assume, in my opinion, we will be seeing a lot of lists playing Scrying Sands as a 3-of because I think this card is nuts. The only other cheap combat trick as well in Shurima is what? Shapestone? The 1 mana +1/+1, which is a 1 mana +3/+1. If you play a landmark, sure, there's also like Quicksand, I guess, but that's 3 mana. And in my opinion, I would rather play this over Shapestone if I am a non-aggro deck. Like, sure, I think aggro decks would still maybe prefer Shapestone, but even aggro decks were cutting Shapestone for other combat tricks. Like, I believe Azir Lucian didn't play that many Shapestones and they preferred Sharpsight instead, because Sharpsight is just nuts, in all honesty. Anyway, though, I'm rambling now, and this video is getting to be a little too long. So, that's it. These are all the cards that were spoiled today. Hopefully we get some more sweet cards spoiled tomorrow. I would like to see some Targon cards, please, Rito. But yes, I am very, very high up and hyped for Zilean. I love the card. And I can't wait to see more cards, more synergy with Zilean and Shurima in general. I like the Shurima region. I would love to see more synergy with him and Shurima. Give me more Time Bomb synergy, maybe. But yeah, maybe if you have any ideas for some decks, I would love to hear them so I could copy them. Smile. Any ideas for Zilean decks or Soothsayer decks, whatever, or maybe Chrono Shift ideas, I would love to hear them. Maybe we can try out Mono Fiora and Shurima again with Chrono Shift. I don't think Mono Fiora is ever going to come back as in the current form that Fiora is in, because I think she's a little too weak, but who knows, maybe. Also, if you just enjoyed the video in general, it'd be really nice of you if you could leave a comment or a like down below, of course. It always helps out the channel. And of course, if you want to keep up with the content, you can always go and subscribe to the channel. And if you want to watch me play some Legends of Runeterra, you can always go and check me out at my Twitch TV account channel over at twitch.tv/Zenaton. I stream there pretty much every single day playing Legends of Runeterra. Anyway, though, with that all said and done, thank you all again once more for watching this video. And until I see you guys in the next one, bye.